Morning, YouTube. This is Phoenix Dingo. Thank you for tuning into my channel. First things first, please subscribe. Help me get to 100 subs. Y'all are awesome. Thank you. All right, so today I wanted to talk about why people hate the concept of the Freedom Dividend. I think a big part of this has to do with the fact that we've been divided into classes. Classes shouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. However, the narrative of the poor has led to an unempathetic and an unsympathetic response to their plight, our plight. I'm poor. For example, welfare is used or is seen as a handout, a free handout to people who aren't trying to do their best. People think that poor people don't work hard enough. A perfect example of that is Steve Harvey when he said, "Oh, the rich don't sleep. Y'all are poor because you sleep," which is absolutely ridiculous, but I'm not even gonna with him. And then there's also shame for parents who are poor, as if the only people who should have the privilege of having children are people with money. Okay? People shame parents. And they're like, why would you bring someone into this world when you can barely take care of yourself? First of all, this is not to negate personal responsibility. However, sometimes things happen. Condoms are not 100%. They are effective. And I think they said it's like 99%. But things do happen. They rip. They fall off. There's plenty of things that can happen. Birth control, same thing. So it's not always their fault. And even if so, again, should having children be something that only the rich can do? Just saying. Okay. There's shame for single parents, as if they just were either the women were sluts or they I don't know. I don't know the argument behind single parenting, because things happen. You can be with someone for years and then they turn out to be the scum of the earth. Or their abusive spouse and they're being raped. And there's so many situations that it's just funny that there's so much shame behind someone being a single parent. Sometimes it's better to be a single parent than to be with the person that fathered or mothered your child. Just saying again. Which it's also funny because Republicans are just so against abortion, but at the same time, there's all this shame that they're throwing around. It's like, come on now. Anyways. All right. And then the poor. There's the view that the poor don't work, that they just lay around their house and they collect all these things and they're just living high off the hog with welfare. And then finally, there's also a racist view of public assistance, and that's black people just take advantage of the system. I used to work with food stamps, processing them, and I used to hear this all the time. People would call up, and this is middle class people. They're like, "Oh, I'm not trying to take advantage of the system like some people do. I just need a little help." And if you said that, shame on you. Anyways, I've heard it all. I've heard people, be like, "Oh, how many baby daddies she got, I wonder. Ooh, the kids don't have the same last name. This, that, and the other." And there was automatically prejudice based off of names as well. Simply because they would have a name like, I don't know, Water Mandrelia or whatever Raymond Simone said on The View. So this doesn't take into account the way that things are in reality, which I'm going to get to in a little bit, because we're going to put this into perspective by putting it in a real life situation. But the next point I have is greed. There are people out there who would rather cut off their nose to spite their face. And that's exactly what this is. There are people that would rather not have the Freedom Dividend to ensure that those lazy, scummy, low-class, trailer, ghetto, whatever, people don't get a handout for being lazy. I've heard this so many times. Why should they get $1,000 and not work when I'm working and I'll get $1,000? Okay. Well, one, that's also ego. I'm going to put that in there. It's also ego when it comes down to that, because there's this false sense of entitlement, like you've done something right if you can manage to be able to save. So let's apply this to life. Let's do the math. As Andrew Yang would say, let's do the math. So the reality of the situation is, let's say in Florida, right here, we have minimum wage, which is $8.46. Okay? If you're working a full 40 hours a week, that's a total of 80 for a biweekly check. So that's going to be $676.80. Okay? So in a monthly, that's going to be $1,353.60. Okay? Most of the houses around here, the cheaper houses, are like $900, but just to be conservative, I'm going to say $800. So $800 for rent, that leaves you $553.60. Now utilities, again, I'm going to underestimate and say it's $200. Mine is usually double that, but whatever. That leaves $353. Okay, so let's say your health insurance is $100. Again, unrealistic. And let's say your food budget is $50 a week, which is $200. Again, unrealistic, but we're going to roll with it. That's $53.60. And that is what you have left for toiletries, cleaning supplies, transportation, washing your clothes, laundry detergent, saving, as they say that we should do, etc. Okay? Now, even if it was $10 an hour, that would only be $246.40. Now, mind you, this is also before taxes. Okay? So, if you add taxes into the mix, the minimum wage is probably going to go under, which means they have to cut something. That's probably going to be insurance, which is why a lot of people don't have it. It's not because they don't want it. It's because they can't afford it, which is why they go to the hospital, because it's the only place guaranteed to do that. Unless you go to, like, the county health department. However, they just have doctors. They don't really have equipment that can give you full care. So in working different things up or doing different like scans and things like that to detect disease and whatnot, they don't do that. They can't do that. They don't have the stuff. So basically you just get to see a doctor. Okay? So preventing certain diseases or even detecting that they're there, you can't. You can't. So, yeah. Basically, insurance would probably go $50 a week to eat 3 meals a day. Not really realistic. It can happen because you could just get, milk and a whole bunch of cereal. But how nutritious is that? How are you going to get fresh fruits and vegetables? Seriously. So, I just wanted to run over one of the main things, because I go through comments and I read what people say. And outside of the Yang Gang, who were all together on this, other people just have like an unrealistic view of what poor people are going through. When you have to juggle bills, when you have to push different bills back in order to pay other bills, and you have to wait 2 weeks before you get your next paycheck. So it's not like you can say, hey, I can do this next week. It's a mess down here. for a lot of people. It's not about the fact that people are lazy. It's about you can't do it. Do the stinking math. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. But people have this preconceived notion that lazy people have done something wrong in their life. It's not the case. So, next time you hear someone say something like that, tell them to do the math. Run over it. Run over it with them. Wherever you are, take your minimum wage and just break it down for them. And I'm pretty sure they'll see that it's not a living wage. $1,000 would go a long way. And if they think they're so better off that they could, $1,000 wouldn't help them, tell them to pass it my way. I could use it. Okay. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe, like, share, and enjoy your day. Everybody, be blessed.